What's up, my dudes? It's Sunday, well, it's Sunday right now when I'm recording this, so you know what that means. I'm bringing you a video today, and it's not really anything super special. It's just a Black Ops 3 beta gameplay. Um, I don't like go off in this gameplay or anything like that. Actually, in my opinion, I'm not playing well at all. But I'm going to be doing some commentary with it, and that's what you need to pay attention to. The commentary is going to be about I'm going to do the good, the bad, and the ugly from the Black Ops 3 beta. Oh, Dazzle, what does that mean? What are you going to do? I'm going to tell you some of the things that I really like about the beta that I think they did perfectly and don't need improved at all, or perfect. I'm going to give you some things that have annoyed me during the beta that they don't make the game necessarily unplayable, but it bothers me, and I think it's something that should be tweaked or fine-tuned to be a little bit better. And then I'm going to give you some things that I absolutely cannot stand about the beta and have to be fixed in order for it to be playable, in my opinion. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, and let's get started. So to start off, I'm going to go and I'm going to start with the worst things about the game. So I'm going to start with the ugly, and I'm going to work my way towards the good things, and then we're going to end on a good note. So another note is that I'm not going to talk about things that I don't have a solution for. So there will be a few things that, in my opinion, that are either in the ugly or the bad categories that I'm just not even going to mention at all, simply because I could not come up with a solution to the problem, or a practical solution anyways. So with all of the ugly and the bad things in the game, I'm going to have some sort of suggestion as to what can be done to fix it and balance it out a little. So let's get started. I'm going to start off in the ugly category with the one thing that everybody knows is stupidly overpowered in the game, and that would be the concussion grenades. Now, I'm pretty sure that those things are already going to be nerfed because on Twitter, Treyarch and Vonderhaar both have made comments about the concussion grenades needing nerfed or something along those lines. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I think we can expect that by the time that the actual release comes out, those will not be nearly as powerful. And for those of you who haven't played the beta or seen the concussion grenades, their explosive range really isn't like too ridiculous, but the effect that they have is a little ridiculous. You can't move, you can't see. Your exit, like your movement, is slowed. Your sensitivity is way low, and it just lasts for entirely too long. And if you get stunned by a concussion grenade, essentially you're dead unless you get incredibly lucky by just spraying. You really can't do anything. One of the other things that I think falls into the ugly category are the spawns, especially when it comes to like hardpoint. I played a lot of hardpoint in the beta because that's one of my favorite game modes. The spawns are really bad. I've had a lot of times where I'll spawn in and there will be someone across the map already aiming at where I spawned in. It's not like they're just sitting there waiting for me to spawn. It just happened that the game spawned me in where someone was already shooting. I've had times where I spawned in and before I could even move, I was already being shot. And there are other times where I'm playing the game, walking around, and the enemy team literally spawns right behind me. And I just get shot in the back and I can't do anything about it. And it's one of those things that I think in order to make the game playable, you have to fix those spawns because it's a little ridiculous when I'm just, walking around the map and I just randomly get shot in the back because someone spawned in right behind me. Or I spawn in right in front of someone and just die as soon as I spawn in. It's not exactly fair that way. The other thing that I think needs fixed is the Razorback SMG. The reasoning is that the Razorback is almost too easy to use. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that are big fans of the Razorback. They're saying, "Oh, what's wrong with the Razorback? I can drop big numbers with it. It's not that bad." The problem with the Razorback is that it's an SMG with a pretty high fire rate, and it has an effective range as far as almost the M8, which, for those of you who don't know what the M8 is, the M8 is the 4-round burst assault rifle. I've lost gunfights at assault rifle range to Razorback when I had an M8 in my hands. I think that its effective range is just a little too far for how high its fire rate is. fixes for that could either be nerfing the effective range so that it does less damage at range, or maybe lowering the fire rate a little bit. I don't really think that's practical, or even just adding more recoil on the gun when you're shooting it. Because I just think it's a little ridiculous that I can get gunned down across the map by an SMG when I'm running an assault rifle. Alright, well, I think that takes care of most of my uglies. Onto the bad category. The first one that I have here is that there's only 10 slots for a custom class. I don't know if that's only for the beta and they're going to change that for the regular game, but it really doesn't give you a whole lot of customization options. And they've made it so that you can put up to, I think, if you include sights, I think you can put 6 attachments on your primary weapon. And when you're taking up 7 slots with one weapon, you can't have, you know, yeah, there's trade-offs, but I think 10 slots, considering how much they allow you to customize, I think 10 slots is a little bit on the low end. I like it in Advanced Warfare. They have 13. I think that's a good number. Even 12 would probably be enough. Another one that I have here is the little like blast radius on the Tempest, which is a specialist ability, and it shoots like an electric charge kind of thing. I've had in the past where I would shoot people with it, or shoot literally like right next to people across, like at range, and it doesn't kill them. I don't even get a hit marker, which to me, when I'm going up against these other specialist abilities that are similar in nature that have a bigger blast radius, namely the War Machine, or even the Sparrow a little bit because the bolts, or the arrows explode, it's kind of unfair, especially like at close range when someone rushes me and I have the Tempest and I get a shot off and I miss it because it just barely missed their side. I think it's kind of annoying. I think it just needs a slight buff. Nothing too insane. It doesn't need to be able to just completely miss them and still be able to kill targets. Just a little bit of a buff, so you get a little bit more registration when you're shooting it, I think would be enough. On the other hand, I also have that the Scythe has almost too much of an effective range. It's not terrible, but it's one of those things. It gets kind of annoying when you're playing and you're just constantly getting gunned down from a minigun across the map. You know, I maybe just add a little recoil so it's a little bit harder to shoot across the map. One of those things. You know, what are you gonna do? Another thing that I don't like is that I feel like the blast radius for like frag grenades and Semtex is either too big or they need to fix the grenade danger indicator. Because those of you that are longtime Call of Duty fans remember the grenade indicator. Always it gets bigger or more red or what have you as a grenade gets closer to you. So you know about how much damage it's typically going to do to you depending on how close you are to the grenade. They don't do that in Black Ops 3. It's just one indicator showing you which direction the grenade is from you. And it's hard to tell whether you're going to be able to survive it or not. On top of that, I feel like the grenades kill me. If I have the grenade danger indicator on my screen, I feel like I'm going to die regardless of how far away I am. I don't know why. That's just my personal opinion. So I think either the grenades need a little bit of a nerf or the danger indicator needs to be reworked. Let's see, what else? Here's the big one, toughness. A lot of people would probably put toughness in their ugly category because it doesn't exist at all and it's kind of rough to play without it. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, when you're in a gunfight in Call of Duty and you're getting shot, your character flinches, so it makes it harder to win a gunfight when you're being shot. In past games, namely Advanced Warfare, there's a perk called Toughness that eliminates most of, if not all of, the flinching when you're being shot. They don't have that in Black Ops 3, so when you're in a gunfight, it makes it hard to win the gunfight while being shot. Yes, it's tough, but you have to realize that the reason I've only put it in the bad category is because both sides, it goes both ways. If you're getting shot, you're going to be flinching, but if you're shooting someone, they're going to be flinching. I think the only justification that I can have for putting it in ugly would be as if I was only a sniper, because I've had where sniping without toughness on this game is really hard. That's the only time I think that it can really justify it to be put in there. And the other thing that I don't like personally is the aiming for the aiming mechanic for snipers. I'm not a quick scoper, but that being said, when I'm in a close range situation and all I have is a sniper out, I should be able to hit a shot. I've had times where I aim down the sights, and it's not a quick scope. It's technically a hard scope because I get to the scope and I can see the person in my sights on my crosshairs, and they're close enough that, I shouldn't be able to miss anyway. And the gun, when I pull the trigger, I hear it shoot, I miss the shot. And it's almost like I'm just no-scoping and I just completely miss. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but I have, and it really irritates me when I don't get that kill because of that. Because my reaction time is good enough that I can hit those shots, but the game isn't letting me sometimes. What have you. Let's see. I'm going to run through the good things real quick because I'm starting to run out of time. One thing, starting off, movement. The movement in this game is so fluid, so smooth. I love it. Everything about it is great. I have no complaints about the movement. There are no glitches, none at all. Snapshotting. I know I was just complaining about essentially snapshotting with sniper rifles, but with every other gun in the game, the snapshots are incredible. It's not like Advanced Warfare where you just can snapshot across the map, but it's very good, and I really like the snap mechanics. The pace of play as well as the time to kill in this game I think are pretty solid. The time to kill is a little bit fast considering how fast-paced the game is, but overall I think it's pretty well balanced. Versatility of the weapons. Because of the competitive scene where we're going to be having, these bans and protects, the weapons are very versatile. For the most part, there are very few guns that I can just say, that gun is stupidly overpowered. There's very few that are like that, and I really like that. The balance of specialists. Again, one of those things, every specialist has there's another specialist that counters it quite well, for the most part. Almost all of them are pretty well balanced, and I don't think there's too many that are overly used or too overpowered. And my last one that I really like is the balance between the assault rifles and the submachine guns. One thing I really dislike in Advanced Warfare is the fact that I can lose gunfights at range to an ASM-1 when I'm running a bow. All the time. It's not one of those things that occasionally happens. It happens all the time. Almost all of the assault rifles outgun the SMGs at range. But when you get to close range, the SMGs outgun the assault rifles. And I've noticed that, and I really, really, really like that. Because I've had in games, typically what happens is if the assault rifles are able to win gunfights at range, almost always they're also able to win gunfights close up against a submachine gun. And I played the game through, and I started running an SMG on my first few games, and I thought, wow, this game is going to be really, really assault rifle dominated. So I started switching to assault rifles, and then I noticed that, the submachine guns still are really good. I'm still losing a lot of gunfights to submachine guns, so I think they're balanced really well, and I really like that. So that wraps up my good, bad, and ugly for Black Ops 3. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.